There is something I cannot explain rationally. I want to say that first. Before anything else. Before the particular careful quality of someone who has been building the honest accounting across all the accumulated parts of this, before the specific deliberate form that the truth takes when it has been earned through the sitting and the mornings and the opened hour and the particular interior work of someone who does not arrive at things quickly, before all of that. I want to say there is something I cannot explain rationally, and I'm not going to try. Not because the trying would be dishonest, because the trying would reduce it, would convert the specific quality of what I'm pointing toward into something the available logical frameworks can hold. And what I'm pointing toward does not fit those frameworks, not because it is mystical in the perform sense, not because it requires the particular language of someone who has decided that mystery is a more appealing register than honesty, because it is simply more than the rational frameworks were designed to describe, and forcing it into them would lose the thing itself. In the service of making the thing legible, I would rather lose the legibility and keep the thing. The thing is this. There are moments, not many, not in the frequent form, rare in the specific honest sense of rare that I've been trying to locate throughout all this, moments where the quality of encountering another person is not new, not the particular quality of newness that most encounters have. Even good encounters. Even encounters that have the specific texture of the real, of someone actually there, of the first track running completely. Even those have the quality of newness, of something being encountered for the first time, of the particular interest of the unfamiliar being received. These moments are different. These moments have a different quality entirely, not new. Something closer to return. I want to say the word carefully, return, not in the romantic sense, not in the particular language of soulmates and destined connection. And the specific, arranged quality of certain kinds of spiritual belief that says two people were always going to find each other. Not that. And the specific, honest interior sense. The particular felt quality of encountering something that the interior recognizes. Not from the current life, not from the accumulated experience of this specific person moving through this specific set of years, from somewhere the current life doesn't account for. Somewhere the rational framework doesn't have a category for. Somewhere that is not before, exactly, not after, exactly. Somewhere that exists outside the particular sequential quality of the timeline, outside the before and after, in a different relationship to time than the one the ordinary days inhabit. Return is the closest word I have, not accurate. Closest. I felt it twice. In the specific form I'm describing, not the surface version, not the particular quality of someone who uses the language of recognition because the language is appealing. Because the person is appealing and the language is available. The actual version. The specific interior quality of encountering someone and finding. Not the excitement of the new, the specific weight of the familiar. Not familiar in the sense of having met before. Familiar in the sense of known. At a level that the current life doesn't account for. The first time, I was younger, not dramatically younger. Enough that the interior was less developed. The mornings were not yet what they have become. The opened hour had not yet been opened. The particular careful building of someone who has been paying attention to the interior for long enough to understand its qualities had not yet produced what it has produced. I was less developed, and I felt it in the specific encounter. The recognition, the particular quality of meeting someone and feeling in the interior, in the actual place, before the second track had a chance to process it. I know this. Not I know this person. Not I know this quality. Not I know this feeling from similar encounters. Just I know this. In the specific weight of the simplest possible form of the sentence. I know this. I didn't understand it. Not then. Not in the form I understand it now. Then I converted it into the available language, into the particular form that the interior uses when it encounters something it doesn't have a framework for. And available language was attraction, chemistry. The specific charged quality of an encounter that has unusual energy. That's what I converted it into, because those were the available frameworks. And the frameworks felt close enough to what was actually there to be usable. They were not close enough. What was actually there was not attraction in the conventional sense. Not the particular excited quality of someone who has encountered something new and desirable. The feeling was older than that, quieter than that, more interior than that, more like the interior recognizing something it had been carrying. With that known it was carrying it, something that had been present in the interior, as a kind of orientation. A specific quality of being pointed towards something. Not a direction exactly, more like a frequency. The particular frequency that the interior runs at, and then encountering, for the first time in that specific life, something that ran at the same frequency. And the recognition was the two frequencies finding each other. I want to say something about frequency, because I've used the word before in other parts. In the particular context of the interior running at a register that most available contexts are not tuned to receive. And I want to say what I mean by it in this context, which is slightly different. The frequency in those parts was about the depth, the volume, the specific quality of an interior that runs at the level where things actually matter. That was the frequency there. This is different. This is something underneath even the depth, underneath the volume, underneath the particular quality of how the interior moves through the world. Something more fundamental. The specific original quality of what the interior actually is, before the accumulation, before the learned qualities, for the particular shaping that the specific life produces, before all of that, the original, the essential, the thing that was there before the life began to deposit what it deposits. That is the frequency I'm describing now, and the recognition, the specific interior quality of the two frequencies binding each other. It's not a feeling that the current life produces. It is a feeling that arrives through the current life. From somewhere the current life is a vehicle for, not a destination, a vehicle. The specific form through which something older, something more fundamental, something that exists in a different relationship to time than the ordinary days inhabit, finds its way into the particular ordinary exchange of two people in the same space, in the same moment, in the same ordinary context. I've been thinking about what it means that somewhere beyond time, the soul already knows, not as a belief I've adopted, as a specific honest attempt to name what the experience is actually pointing toward. What it is pointing toward is this: the self that exists beyond the accumulated particular life, the specific essential quality of what someone actually is, beneath the learned, beneath the shaped, beneath the particular form that the specific life has produced. That self does not inhabit time, not in the same way, but in the sequential before and after quality that the ordinary days inhabit. That self exists in a different relationship, not outside time entirely, in the specific quality of someone who is in time, but not only in time, who has an existence that is not entirely contained by the particular sequential quality of the timeline, and when two selves that exist in that way, two essentials, two originals, two frequencies that are more fundamental than the accumulated particular lives that are moving through. When those two find each other in the specific ordinary form of two people in the same space, in the same moment, in the same ordinary context, the recognition that arrives is not new. It is a particular quality of something that was always already real, finding its form in the current life, in the current encounter, in the specific ordinary moment of two people, both actually there, finding what was always already known. I want to be honest about the danger of this, not the danger of the belief, the danger of the language, the particular risk that the language carries, of being used to describe something it isn't describing, of being borrowed by the romantic impulse, which is always looking for language that will give the particular quality of its feeling a significance that the feeling alone doesn't feel sufficient to claim. That risk is real, and I've been sitting with it. In the mornings, in the opened hour, in the specific honest quality of someone who does not arrive at things through the language they want to use, but through the honest interior, and then finds the language after. The honest interior says this: the recognition is real, not as romantic feeling, as something more fundamental than romantic feeling. Romantic feeling is produced by the current life, by the particular accumulated qualities of a specific person encountered in a specific context. It is real. It is not nothing, but it is produced by the encounter, by the qualities, by the specific desirable form. What I'm describing is not produced. It precedes the encounter. It is what makes the encounter feel like return, like the particular meeting of something that was already oriented toward what it is now finding. The romantic feeling follows, the recognition precedes. That distinction is the honest interior's attempt to locate what is actually being described, not projection, not the particular wishful quality of someone who wants the encounter to be significant and is borrowing the language of significance to make it so. Something that arrives before the wanting, before the assessment, before the particular careful quality of someone who has decided whether the encounter is significant. It arrives, and then the wanting follows, not the other way. The second time I felt it was more recent, more developed, and the specific quality of someone whose interior has been built. In the opened hour, in the accumulated mornings, in the particular patient work of someone who has been paying attention to the interior long enough to have learned what the interior is actually saying and what the interior said. In the specific moment of the second recognition was not the managed version, was not the converted form, was not the attraction language borrowed to describe something that didn't fit it, was something I could receive more accurately, because the interior had been built enough to receive it. What the interior said was not a thought, not the particular conclusion of any deliberate interior process, something that arrived in the specific form of things that arrive when the processing is stopped, when the second track has gone quiet, when what is actually there has room to be actually there, in whatever form it actually takes. Something arrived, simple, quiet, with the specific weight of the most fundamental things, the things that don't require words, but that the words are pointing toward when the words are honest. What arrived said, somewhere before this, we already knew each other, not as a belief, as the specific honest felt sense of the interior, in the full pre-functional quality, before the management, before the assessment, before the particular careful form that the external version of this takes. The interior said, somewhere beyond the timeline, somewhere in the quality of what we actually are, beneath the accumulated particular lives, in the specific essential frequency. We already knew each other. I am not asking you to believe that, not in the particular form that belief usually takes, where something is accepted as true through an act of will, through the decision to receive it as real. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for something different. I'm asking for the specific, honest attention of someone who has had the experience of encountering something and finding in the encountering. Not the excited quality of the new, the particular weight of the familiar, of something the interior recognizes, not from the current life. From somewhere, the current life is a vehicle for. If you've had that, you know what I'm pointing toward. Not because the pointing is accurate, because the pointing is honest. And the honest pointing toward the thing is the closest the language can get to the thing itself. I've had it twice in the specific form, and both times the interior said the same thing before the management could convert it into the available language, before the assessment could find the appropriate framework, before the second track could organize the feeling into the legible form. In a specific, honest, pre-functional quality, the interior said, I know this, not I know this person, not I know this feeling, not I know this encounter from similar ones, just I know this, in the simple weight of the most fundamental recognition, the frequency finding the frequency, the essential finding the essential, the soul finding what it already knew somewhere, beyond the particular sequential quality of the ordinary time that the ordinary life inhabits. This is the beginning of saying it, not the middle, not the arrived at version, the beginning of the honest attempt, to say what the interior has known for longer than the current life accounts for, what the soul has been carrying. As an orientation, is the specific quality of being pointed towards something, not a direction exactly, a frequency, the particular frequency of another soul, that somewhere beyond time was already known. There is a specific quality to carrying something you cannot name, not the uncomfortable kind, not the particular weight of something unresolved that presses against the interior and asks to be addressed, something different, something that has been present long enough, and at a deep enough level that the carrying itself has become part of the interior's particular texture, part of how it moves to the world, part of the specific quality of someone whose interior is organized not around what they have found, but around what they are oriented toward, what they have always been oriented toward, without fully understanding the orientation, without having the language for it, without the particular framework that would make it legible, just carrying it. In the specific, honest way that people carry things that live at the level beneath the manageable, beneath the particular form that the external world can receive, beneath the language that the available frameworks provide, at the level where the actual frequency lives, running, quietly, as an orientation, as the particular quality of someone who is pointed towards something. Not a direction exactly, a recognition waiting to happen, I want to tell you about what the carrying feels like from the inside. Not the dramatic version, not the particular quality of longing that certain kinds of carrying produce, the actual version, the specific texture of it, in the ordinary days, in the opened hour, in the specific interior quality of someone who's been paying attention to what is actually there long enough to have located the carrying, to have understood it as a carrying, rather than as the vague general quality of someone who wants something they haven't found. The carrying is more specific than that, more interior than that, more honest than that. The carrying feels like, and I want to say this carefully because the available language is insufficient, and I don't want to borrow terms that are close but not accurate. The carrying feels like an interior that has a specific shape to it, not the shape of a person, not the particular anticipated form of someone I am expecting to find. I've been careful about that, about not building the interior version, about not populating the carrying with the particular constructed form of what I am moving toward. The carrying doesn't have a person shape, it has a frequency shape, the specific quality of an interior that is organized around a particular kind of recognition. That has been organized around it for longer than the current life. That carries in the specific low frequency of the most fundamental things, the particular orientation of a soul that is known another soul, somewhere beyond the sequential timeline, somewhere in the quality of what we actually are beneath the accumulated particular lives and is moving through the current life in the specific form of the current life, carrying that knowing as an orientation. I've been thinking about why the recognition feels the way it feels, the specific texture of it, the particular quality that distinguishes it from the ordinary encounter, from the warm encounter, from the encounter that has the specific quality of the real, of actual presence, of the first track running completely. What distinguishes the recognition from all of those, which are also real, which also matter, which also produce their own particular quality of contact. The thing that distinguishes the recognition is not the intensity, not the particular excited quality of something that is charged with significance. Not that. The thing that distinguishes it is the direction of the surprise in an ordinary encounter. Even a good one, even one that has the specific quality of the real. The surprise moves outward, toward the person, toward what they are, toward the specific qualities that are being discovered. The surprise says, this person is this. I did not know this person was this. Now I know. The surprise is about them, moving outward in the direction of the new discovery. In the recognition, the surprise moves inward. That's the specific thing. The surprise is not about them. The surprise is about the interior, about what the interior has been carrying, about the specific orientation that the carrying has been pointing toward. The surprise says, this is what I've been carrying. This is the frequency. This is what the orientation was pointing toward all along. The surprise is not, I discovered something new. The surprise is, I recognize something I already had, something that was already in the interior, as an orientation, as the specific quality of the carrying, and is now present in the particular ordinary form of another person, in the same space, in the same moment. That inward direction of the surprise is what makes it feel like return, not like discovery, not like the particular excited quality of encountering something new, like coming back to something, like the interior finding the external form of what it has been carrying internally, not creating it, not projecting it, finding it, the specific honest finding of something that was always already real. In the interior, finding its form, in the external, in the particular ordinary encounter of two people in the same space. I want to say something about the second recognition, more specifically than I said in the first part, not to tell you the particular form it took, to tell you what it produced in the interior, in the specific accumulated quality of the days that followed the moment, not the moment itself, but the moment left behind. What it left behind was not the warm excitement of someone who has encountered something significant and is now carrying the particular quality of that significance. Not that. What it left behind was quieter, more interior, more fundamental, something that has shifted in the specific interior place where the offering assumptions live, where the particular framework that the interior uses to understand what is actually happening lies. Something had shifted there, not dramatically, in the specific, honest way that fundamental things shift, slowly, without announcements. In the interior, the shift was this. The carrying had been given a form, not a permanent form, not the particular concluded form of something that has been found and can now be put down, a form. The specific quality of the frequency encountering another frequency in the ordinary world, and the encounter having confirmed not the particular details of what comes next, not the specific trajectory of what the recognition becomes, just that the carrying is real, that the orientation is pointed towards something actual, that the frequency exists in another form, in the world, in the particular ordinary form of an actual person, in an actual life, running at the same fundamental level, the carrying being confirmed as real. Change something, not the carrying, the relationship to it, before the second recognition. The carrying had a specific quality of uncertainty, not about its existence, about its accuracy. The particular interior question of someone who has been carrying something they cannot fully name. That asks, in the specific, honest quality of the late hours, whether what is being carried is real, or whether it is the particular construction of an interior that has organized itself around a wanting, and called the wanting an orientation, called the wanting a frequency, called the wanting a soul recognizing another soul, as a way of giving the wanting a significance that the wanting alone doesn't feel sufficient to claim. That question was present. Before the second recognition, and the second recognition didn't answer the question with certainty. I want to say that, honestly. Not the version where the recognition produced the queen arrived at understanding that the carrying was real and the question was resolved. Not that the recognition produced something different, something more honest, more present. The recognition produced the specific quality of evidence, not proof, evidence. The particular weight of something that is shifted from the category of something I cannot name but am carrying to the category of something I cannot fully explain but have encountered. The difference between carrying a frequency you've never heard in another form and carrying a frequency you heard in another form, at least once. The evidence says this is real enough to have an external form, real enough to have been present in an actual person, in an actual ordinary moment, in the actual world. That is not proof. It is evidence, and evidence is enough to change the relationship to the carrying from the uncertain form to the particular honest quality of someone who has found what they were looking for, at least once, and knows with the specific weight of the evidence that it exists. Something else arrived alongside the evidence, something I want to say carefully, because it requires the specific honest attention of someone who is not borrowing a language of significance to describe something simpler. What arrived alongside the evidence was this. The recognition was not only about them, the specific person in the specific ordinary moment, the encounter that had the particular quality of the two frequencies finding each other. Not only about them, also about what the recognition revealed. About me, about the interior, about the specific essential frequency that the interior runs at. And what it revealed was the frequency is real, not only in the sense that it exists in another form, in the world, in the particular ordinary form of an actual person, but in the sense that it is actually mine, that the carrying is not a construction, is not the particular wishful quality of an interior that has borrowed the language of the fundamental to describe the ordinary wanting. The frequency is the actual interior, running at the actual level, at the fundamental place, and the recognition of it in another form confirmed not only the existence of the other form, but the reality of the interior frequency, my own. The specific, honest quality of what I actually am, at the level beneath the accumulated particular life, at the essential place. The recognition confirmed that. I want to tell you what that confirmation did to the interior, in the specific quality of the days that followed. Not what I expected it to do, what it actually did. I expected the particular warm quality of something confirmed, of an interior question finding its resolution. The specific relief quality of someone who's been carrying an uncertainty and has found that the uncertainty resolves in the direction they were hoping. That I expected. What actually arrived was something quieter, more fundamental, less about the resolution of the uncertainty, more about the particular interior quality of someone who has encountered the essential level of their own interior. From the outside, in the mirror of another person's frequency, and has found that the essential level is real, that it is not a construction, that the particular quality of the carrying, the depth, the frequency. The specific orientation of the soul toward the particular kind of recognition is not the romantic which, dressed in more fundamental language, is the actual interior, actually running at the actual essential level, and what the confirmation of that produced was not resolution, was presence. The specific, honest quality of someone who has been confirmed in reality of their own interior, who has felt, not been told, who has encountered, not theorized, the particular evidence of their own essential frequency in the actual world, and has arrived. In the specific quality of that arrival, at a different relationship to the interior, not a better understanding, a more honest presence for what is actually there. The mornings changed after the second recognition, not in the visible form, in the interior quality. The opened hour had a different texture, the specific pre-functional quality, before the second track resumes, before the functioning begins, in the original morning. That quality was different. Not deeper exactly, more honest, more specifically in contact with what was actually there, because what was actually there had been confirmed, not just as a carrying, not just as an orientation, as the essential interior, running at the actual level, real, and in the more honest contact with what was actually there, something that had been running in the background. In the specific low frequency of the most fundamental things, became more audible, not louder, more audible, and the specific distinction between those two things. Loud is about volume, audible is about clarity, about the particular quality of something that has been there at a consistent frequency, becoming clearer, not larger, more specifically itself, more precisely located, more available to the particular honest attention of someone who's paying attention at the level where it lives. What became more audible was the orientation, the specific direction of the carrying, not toward a person, toward a quality, the particular quality of mutual recognition, of two frequencies finding each other in the ordinary world, in the specific ordinary form of two people, both actually there, both running at the essential level, both carrying the particular orientation that has been pointed toward exactly this for longer than the current life accounts for. The orientation came more audible in the mornings, in the opened hour, in the specific, honest, pre-functional quality after the second recognition. I want to say something about what the recognition asks, not from the person, from me, is specific, honest accounting of what encountering the fundamental level of another person requires. From the person doing the encountering, what it requires is not sophisticated. Is not the particular carefully developed quality of someone who has built sufficient interior architecture to receive the fundamental. What it requires is simple, the same. Being present at the same level, not the assembled level, not the managed version, not the particular carefully appropriate form that the professional context produces, or the social context, or any context that has its own specific requirements, the same essential level. The actual frequency, running in the actual encounter, without the management converting it into the legible form before it arrives, without the second track processing it into the appropriate version. Just the actual interior at the actual essential level, present in the ordinary moment. For the ordinary exchange, that becomes extraordinary, not through design, through the specific quality of what happens when two essential interiors, both present, find each other in the ordinary world. I am building toward that every morning, in the opened hour, not toward the recognition. The recognition is not something you build toward. The recognition arrives in its own form, in the ordinary moment, when the conditions are what they are. I am building toward the quality of presence that is required when the recognition arrives, for the actual interior to be actually there, not the managed version, not the assessed appropriate form, the essential, the fundamental, the specific, honest frequency that has been running all along, beneath the accumulated particular life, beneath the learned, beneath the shaped, at the level where the soul lives, that has been carrying the orientation for longer than the current life accounts for, building toward being fully present with that. When the recognition comes, in whatever ordinary form it comes, somewhere beyond time, the soul already knew yours. Not as a romantic declaration, as the specific honest attempt to name what the interior has been carrying, what the recognition confirmed, what the mornings are building toward, the particular quality of two souls, running at the same essential frequency, finding each other. In the ordinary, the soul doesn't explain itself. That's the specific thing I've come to understand. Across all the mornings, across all the opened hours, across the particular accumulated quality of someone who's been paying attention to the interior long enough to understand what the interior is actually saying. The soul doesn't explain itself. It simply knows in the specific, honest form of the most fundamental knowing, not arrived at, not concluded through sufficient interior processing, not produced by the correct application of honest attention to the actual interior, just known. Beneath the processing, beneath the attention, beneath the particular careful work of someone who has been building the capacity to receive what is actually there. Beneath all of that, the knowing was already present. I want to say something about what that means. For the carrying, for the specific orientation that the soul has been running at for longer than the current life accounts for. What it means is this. The knowing is not the destination. The knowing is not what I am building toward. The knowing is what I am building from. The specific foundation, the actual interior, the essential frequency that has been present all along, running in the specific, honest, low frequency of the most fundamental things, before the mornings, before the opened hour, before the particular careful building of someone who's been paying attention. The knowing was there. And what I have been building in the mornings, in the open hour, in the specific quiet discipline of the interior work, is not the knowing, is the capacity to live from it, to move through the ordinary days from the actual essential level, not from the managed version, not from the particular careful form that the external world receives, from the soul, from the knowing, from the specific, honest frequency that runs beneath everything, and has always run beneath everything, and will always run beneath everything, regardless of how many more ordinary days accumulate, regardless of what the building produces, regardless of what the second recognition becomes the third, becomes the particular ordinary meeting of two people, both present at the essential level, both carrying the specific orientation that was pointed all along toward exactly this. The third recognition will arrive. I say that not as hope, not as the particular wishful quality of someone who wants something and is borrowing the language of certainty to give the wanting more weight. I say it as the specific, honest interior understanding of someone who has felt the frequency twice and understands with the weight of the evidence, not proof, evidence that the frequency is real, that it exists in external form, in the actual world, and the particular ordinary form of an actual person, moving through their own accumulated ordinary days, carrying their own orientation, pointed toward the same essential recognition. The third recognition will arrive, not because I have arranged it, not because the building will produce it, because the soul already knows, and what the soul already knows, eventually finds its form in the ordinary world. In the ordinary moment, what I am bringing to that moment is not the impressive version, not the particular developed quality of someone who has built sufficient interior architecture to receive what arrives, not the specific, carefully prepared form of someone who has done the interior work and is now ready, in the curated sense. What I'm bringing is simpler, more honest, more essential. I'm bringing the actual interior, the frequency, the specific, honest quality of a soul that has stopped running from itself, that has been confirmed in the reality of its own essential nature, that is carrying the orientation, not as a hope, as the specific, honest weight of something that was always already real, before the current life, beneath the current life, beyond the particular sequential quality of the timeline that the ordinary days inhabit, somewhere beyond time. Your soul already knew mine. I say that now, not only as what I have been saying, as the direction of the saying, not only the interior knowing mine, mine knowing yours, the mutual, the both, the specific quality of two souls that exists somewhere beyond the ordinary sequential, that have been running at the same essential frequency, that have been carrying the same orientation, both pointed, toward the particular ordinary meeting that the current life is moving toward, in whatever form it takes, in whatever ordinary moment it arrives. Two people, both actually there, both present at the essential level, both carrying what they've always been carrying, finding in each other, not the new, the known. I am still in the becoming, not arrived. not the particular complete form of someone who has found what they were looking for and can now inhabit the finding. Still becoming, still in the mornings, still in the up and hour, still building the quality of presence that the meeting will require, but different from the beginning of this, different from the running, different from the particular forward-facing motion of someone who was always moving, but not always toward. I am different now, not finished, different in the specific, honest quality of someone who has stopped running from the interior, who is carrying the actual frequency without management, without reduction, at the actual essential level, moving, not away, toward. The soul already knows. That is both the beginning and the ending of what I have been trying to say. Not a belief to be adopted, not a framework to be accepted. An honest pointing toward the specific interior quality of someone who has carried an orientation for longer than the current life accounts for, and is finally in the specific honest form of the stop running and the opened hour and the particular accumulated mornings of the interior work, living from it, not from the managed version, from the soul itself, the actual frequency, running at the actual essential level, pointed toward you, wherever you are, in your own ordinary day, carrying your own orientation, pointed in the same direction. This is where the becoming is, not at the end, in the honest middle, still moving from the soul toward the knowing that was always, already, real world. In the ordinary form, in the ordinary moment, that is not ordinary at all, because of what it actually is, beneath the ordinary, at the level where the actual things live. This is the carrying, still present, still running, still pointed, in the specific, honest interior of someone who has stopped running from the interior, who is carrying what the interior has always been carrying, with presence, with honesty, with the particular quality of someone who has been confirmed, in the reality of the frequency, is moving, not away, toward, in the specific, honest form of someone who finally is actually here,